Giordano Bruno, not someone who stars in a lot of history books here in the United States, not in my education anyway, and I consider myself pretty educated. I have a couple of college degrees. I got a fistful of teaching credentials. You can probably tell I got a thirst for knowledge on the outside too. Nevertheless, came across Giordano Bruno on my own. Giordano Bruno was an Italian philosopher, poet, alchemist, astrologer, cosmological theorist, and esotericist. He practiced Hermeticism. Okay. Hermetic sciences. I'll continue. Bruno practiced Hermeticism and gave a mystical stance to exploring the universe. He proposed that the stars were distant suns. The internet went out and part of the recording was lost when I started discussing Giordano Bruno's perspective on things like reincarnation and what we would call the secret space program. So I'm interrupting the live recording here to offer some pre-recorded information about Giordano Bruno. However, before I begin, I'd like to point out that that statue you see of Giordano Bruno, which is located in Rome on the spot where he was killed, that statue looks an awful lot like the character in the Five of Cups card you're going to see later. Meanwhile, let's learn about Giordano Bruno. He was born in 1548. He was an Italian philosopher, poet, alchemist, astrologer, cosmological theorist, and esotericist. He is known for his cosmological theories. He practiced Hermeticism and gave a mystical stance to exploring the universe. He proposed that the stars were distant suns surrounded by their own planets, or exoplanets, and he raised the possibility that these planets might foster life of their own, a cosmological position known as cosmic pluralism. He also insisted that the universe is infinite and could have no center. Bruno was tried for heresy by the Roman Inquisition on charges of denial of several core Catholic doctrines. Bruno's pantheism was not taken lightly by the Church, nor was his teaching of metempsychosis regarding the reincarnation of the soul. In fact, the Council of Nicaea had just taken place recently, and they removed reincarnation from the Roman Catholic Church's dogma. And for Bruno to keep talking about it was a problem. If it has not come to your awareness already, Bruno was a priest in the church at one time. In any case, the Inquisition found him guilty, and he was burned at the stake in Rome's Campo dei Fiori in 1600. After his death, he gained considerable fame, being particularly celebrated by 19th and early 20th century commentators who regarded him as a martyr for science. Some historians are of the opinion his heresy trial was not a response to his cosmological views, but rather a response to his religious and afterlife views, while others find the main reason for Bruno's death was indeed his cosmological views. Bruno's case is still considered a landmark in the history of free thought and the emerging sciences. This comes from Wikipedia. All right, we're live again. Hey, everybody, let's try this again. So before he was burned at the stake for heresy, Giordano Bruno was asked, do you have any last words? This was the 17th of February, 1600. And if you live in Italy, you know that date's a big deal. And his last words were, "Perhaps you pronounce this sentence against me with greater fear than I receive it." Obviously, the people that were persecuting him were scared and acting out of fear. And meanwhile, Signore Bruno knew, I'm just going to be reincarnated. You can unalive me, but my spirit lives forever. So let's go ahead and see if there's a message from Giordano Bruno for us, who I shall declare are friends of Giordano Bruno. All of us here at STARCARD Podcast. This is a wish come true to be able to talk to him. Thank you, Tarot World, for all the great messages, all the great support. What an interesting, rich highlight reel we've had this morning. Can't wait to get to the audience readings. But finally, we'd like to invite Giordano Bruno in. He's just saying the same thing, 400 years ago that we're talking about today. I'm sure he would find it no problem to pop in and send us a message with a tarot card. He's probably here right now saying, yeah, here we go. We're all here together. Yeah, thanks, everybody. Clear connection to Giordano Bruno. A message from Giordano Bruno. I feel like he's happy about this. I mean, it's a long time separating when I'm throwing these cards and his last words. Hey, Giordano Bruno. Welcome. And grazie. Grazie, signore. All right, here we go. This is for entertainment purposes only. And our internet connection is good. That's one of our connections that's good. First up, it's the Seven of Cups, which indicates opportunities and variety. It could also represent his cosmological view, Giordano Bruno's cosmological view, that there are many planets and there's civilizations on lots of them, and the universe goes on forever. I could get behind that. Okay. And of course, that knowledge that he had about the universe that went on forever, okay, was hidden. And it might have been deliberately obscured during his lifetime, which is why he drew so much attention. And didn't it draw a conflict for him, says the Five of Wands? Yes. All right. Welcome, Giordano Bruno. Excellent. See, is the tarot world kind of restates where we're going here, but I think this is Mr. Bruno himself. The Queen of Cups comes in, and the Queen of Cups talks about intuition, by the way. But let's read what it says on the card. Compassion, comfort, calm, nurturing, healing, emotionally stable, intuitive, and caring. Well, to be intuitive, you have to be emotionally stable. And remember that last sentence that I just read out loud? Didn't that sound like an emotionally balanced, an emotionally stable person about to be burned at the stake? He's kind of nonplussed about it. Okay. More hints that Giordano Bruno's vibration is in my living room right now. And how about the Hierophant? What a learned man Mr. Bruno was, and he stuck to his ideas. Not only that, I didn't discuss this part with everyone yet, but he was an expert with memory. We would have considered him almost a circus freak, the way he could remember things. He would be called into royal courts to demonstrate his ability. Anyway, again, more signs of Giordano Bruno, who I'm sure has a message of encouragement for all of us here at STARCARD Podcast about, the fact that we all agree and think about the same things. How about the Five of Swords? Okay, so this is something else that he had to deal with. He had to deal with bullying. The Five of Swords is conflict, disagreements, competition, defeat, winning at all costs. Yeah, that kind of stuff was going on. But you know what? The Queen of Swords says he was right the whole time, and we agree. So the Five of Cups says that there's some kind of disappointment, but nevertheless, the tables have turned. The Emperor card says that we're in control. We're in control through our consciousness. And in our case here, just even discussing things like other planets with life on them and consciousness, even telepathy, for example, just here on Earth and among your friends and family and in your community. It demonstrates the power of our consciousness. I think that's what he wants us to focus on. If I had to glean a message from tarot cards. Mille grazie, Giordano Bruno.